in my computer. You know what I mean? So yeah, I used to have that. I used to have my other computers in my bag, and I used to use that one, but it just took a dump on me recently. So now this is
technology.
I'm weird, bro. Like I've had this Mac, but I never like using a Mac. I had this cheap Chromebook I've been using for years, and it just does everything.
Tiny little screen.
It's right.
I was like, Rich, there's no way.
It's cheap. It's old school, but for some reason, I'm just a simple person. You know, like I saw it me like it. I just felt like it opened quick. It just did what I needed to do, and it is what it is. There was no learning curve. It was straight to the point. It did what I said. I was happy.
You know, the first time I saw that,
right?
I was like, there must be something wrong with these production numbers because there's
no
way.
Shut the heck up, bro. Shut
This
the
guy's
heck up.
doing this production.
You know what's funny about that?
Thing, right?
I thought about that before. I'm thinking like, if I'm on appointments, right? If I'm at listening appointment, I bring out that computer. Are people judging me, bro? Like how well are you really doing? You're pulling out this computer.
Oh yeah.
What?
Oh absolutely.
Hold on, man. Let me show you. Nah, really?
I was looking. I was like,
No way. This Dell Chromebook? Is this that?
That was his work.
This was my go-to, man.
It happened, bro.
Like this was only like $250 or something, but it did everything. I just enjoyed it, man. But this
if it worked, now that I know you, I'm like, oh yeah, I know Rich. Rich is not in there. Rich is here. You know, that's who Rich is.
Right.
Well, initially I was like,
and also
help you out, man. I'll give you a loan or something.
No, but you didn't say that because you knew I had that, bro. Like I've had that the whole time.
Yeah, that's why.
But I just never used it. I've only used it for this show. Yeah. But you're saying if I pull this out, you're judging
me? No, I don't really.
But you feel that people would.
Yeah.
Okay. I love my Chromebook, guys. I don't care what y'all say. I love Chromebooks.
I'm an Apple dude, but
everybody
got their own.
And maybe that's it. I'm not an Apple guy, right? I've had one iPhone in my whole life. Ever since then, I've been flying Android. Shout out to Galaxy. No, baby. No squad. No gang. I don't know. I just always.
You know what? Making those group chats all green.
Right. Yeah, I don't got the fancy. That's it. No, right. No, but I think early on, to be real, I learned quickly that, and before I was in business, whatever. It was just the fact that for some reason I knew Android was able to access more things, more websites, more apps, more things. You can do more things with it. Where Apple, the iPhone, they kind of keep you in this little, bubble. Like you can only use certain things, use their products. You can't access third-party websites, third-party things at the time. It may be better now, but so with that, I've always been.
Yeah, who told you that lie, man?
No, no, it was real. When I had the iPhone.
It did feel like a monopoly when they first came out.
It was like 04 for the first.
Yeah, I'm gonna date myself. I think I had the iPhone 2, bro. Like iPhone 2, maybe 3, early iPhone, right? We're at like 11, 12, 13 now.
We have 14. We're about to release the 15 this year.
Wow.
Yeah, ain't that great.
Yeah, and once you get to a certain age, it's like I feel like you kind of stop trying to keep up with what's the current thing.
Until it doesn't, you know what I mean? The only thing I'm noticing, and I think mine's like a 10 or something. But
you got a 10, bro?
The only thing I'm noticing is that the battery dies really fast. So if I'm gonna be on it, other than that, it still functions and
it does what it needs to do. That's it. Like, as you get older, it's all about if it works.
Look at Rich is all, and that's why I have a Chromebook.
That's what I need. There you go. $200 Chromebook. I love it.
I was Android all through high school.
Were you?
Yeah. And then when I got to college, I went to iPhone. It's just simpler. Like I didn't care about customization. I just wanted the phone to do what I wanted it to do.
Yeah.
I didn't care about ringtones, like all that stuff, backgrounds. I was like, whatever.
Yeah. That's it. Once it gets serious, just basic stuff. Hey guys, we're here again. Heat Speakers, guys. We got another great show.
Welcome in.
Man, we got a fire show. Kind of a little bit unexpected show, but it's a blessing. We got a great guest for you guys, and we're supposed to have this gentleman about a month or 2 months ago.
That was
June. Oh my gosh. Yeah. We're supposed to have the guest.
Fell through,
unfortunately, one of the hosts fell ill and was not able to make the show. I'm not going to say any names. It wasn't Mark. But so now here we are. Fortunate enough, we have Eric Guy to the show, guys. Welcome, Eric. What's up, Eric?
Welcome in.
And Eric Guy, man, he's been through a lot. That's why he'd be a great guest. like a businessman. This show, we touch on business and entrepreneurship, and this guy kind of, you know, I want to use a fancy word right now. I can't think of the word, but yeah, he pretty much is both of those together. You know, all together. He entrepreneur. We're going to talk about everything he's done, his whole journey. It's been a long journey. Been doing several things. It'll be a great show, man. Great show. I'm excited.
Absolutely. Man. Welcome in.
Welcome.
Man, glad to be
Welcome in.
here.
And I just remembered something. I have to step out shortly, but it'll be a brief moment, and I'll be back. Because we gotta make you an official heat speaker after the show at some point, and we gotta get you.
Yes.
And I just remembered I left the rest of them in the car, but I'll run and get you.
I can't fit medium though.
That's what. So while we're live, I might as well ask. What you don't want a
I need
medium
an
or?
XL.
All we got is extra small, man.
We got X. We got two X.
There's like Ezekiel Elliott out there, man. We got like Ezekiel Elliott
Yeah.
halfway down the.
Right. So XL is fine.
Yeah,
Or
XL is where it's
So
at for
I
me.
will be back with the shirt. But man, welcome to the show, man. What's going on, Mark? How you been, man? What's the latest? Talk
Been
to us.
good, been good. Trying to deal with these interest rates where they're at. You know, we're gonna touch a little bit later how Eric is tied to real estate here, and you know how we can all do business together and what he's seeing in the market. But just a quick update right here in the beginning. Rates are where rates are. You know,
We are the week of September.
September, first week of September.
Goodness gracious.
Rates have not been favorable. Still sitting, you know, mid to high sevens.
Okay.
Over 8 if your credit score is lacking. You know, so you know that's just where we're at. That's you know everybody's known that for now. You know, for a while now, and you got to take that affordability into account when you're budgeting for purchasing a home or running numbers on investment properties like we'll talk about later. You have to take some of these things into account, you know. So we have not seen any relief yet. I do think it is around the corner, but we have been pretty stagnant in that 7.25 to 8% range is about where we're at. And we're talking on primary homes. So if you're looking at investment property, it's even a little bit higher than that. So.
Sure. But you know what? A lot of buyers out there still relentless, guys. I mean, the market is still marketing.
Deals are out there. We're going to talk about deals are
I
out
just listed a couple houses. One of my listings, this one is sub 300, right? So again, guys, depending on your area, depending on your market, whatever the median is of your market, typically below that is pretty high. It's still active for the most part across the country. Here in Fresno, yeah, I just listed something. We listed it for $289,900.
289.
Nice home, you know, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, remodeled. A lot of activity. We got right now. We're working with 3 offers, and they're both easily $15K over the list price. So,
And real quick, you threw the listing on the MLS on Friday. I did the open house on Sunday, and we're not even a week into it being on the market.
not even a week.
And
We're
the sellers
days.
ready to choose.
Yeah,
Choosing off.
sellers
So,
literally. So that
it's
just
wild.
shows.
It's still moving. It's still
Yeah.
moving.
So all of the doomers out there thinking, you know, it's going to
Yeah.
crash and then no one's buying. Even at 7, 7.5, 8, you know, the lower end of the market, you know, of the median, it's still active. People are still, it's still competitive. You know, there's still going to be a few multiple offers. Not as crazy as it was a year ago. Actually, a year and a half ago.
Yeah, almost
Man,
two.
time flew. Because a year ago, we were faced right now with this new 7%, and which shocked the whole market.
Yeah.
But now it's been about a year since we've been around 7s, and I think a lot of buyers, you know, I think a lot of it is the shock factor last year of what happened. That's why it just froze, right? I think when, you know, rates go from 6 to 7 within a month or 2 months, right?
Right.
Short, it shocks people. People just, we don't know how to react. We don't know what's happening, right? But now we've been with 7s we've been dating 7 for a year, right? On and off, you know, been more or less high 6s, low 7s for about
Yeah,
a
6s
year.
are looking great now.
How
Everybody
now,
wants a 6 now.
yeah, so now the psychology is that 7 is a little high, but I mean, I'll still buy. 6 is amazing.
Yeah.
5 is incredible, right?
Right.
And so I think it's just that's what we're seeing is that the market's still moving. And honestly, I see the light at the end of the tunnel now, man. And I could be a little bit optimistic, but I think across the industry, the consensus is that rates should start trickling down slowly from here. So we'll see. We'll see what the CPI report
Time will
comes in.
tell. Time will
Yeah,
tell.
time will tell.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, guys, if you are out there shopping, the great thing about this market, even though rates are high, you can get today's price, right? Because we know next year this time, it's a great chance that same house is going to be more expensive. God forbid the rate just be the same or even more. It's going to be way more expensive. Even if rates come down, which we're expecting it to come down, you probably will not see today's prices. It's probably going to have 5 to 10K plus on top of what the prices are potentially. This is just my projection.
Even if it's not valued 10 to 15 grand more, people are going to be paying
Yeah.
10 to 15 grand more. And if you think that hasn't happened before, you just have to look as early as 3 years ago.
Right.
People were doing that.
Yeah.
The appraisal came in at 260, but their offer was 280, and the sellers were like, nah, if you don't buy it for 280,
Yeah.
I'm going to go to your backup because they got 20 grand in cash they're willing to pay me.
Very
So
true.
even if it doesn't appraise for that 10, 15 grand difference you're talking about,
Mhm.
well, it's going to be paid for when these drop to 6, 5.5%, 6%.
100%.
It's you're still going to need that,
Right.
you know. So it's tough. It's
It's
tough,
tough.
but there's room there. You know, you set your budget, you talk to professionals, get a game plan in place, and go execute.
Yeah. And sellers are still in the driver's seat, guys. So if you guys have a house up there, you're considering putting it on the market, it's a great time now because it's not much out there. There's not much competition for buyers. So, you know, if your house is looking really nice, a decent price, you're definitely going to have multiple people looking, you know, multiple offers. Waiting another, you know, I hear some people saying they're going to wait till next spring. Might not be a bad idea, to be honest. If rates do come down, you know, you might have that just that much more, you know, activity on your property, on your offers. But on the other side, it could be a lot more houses too on the market, you know, when rates come down, right? So there's more options for buyers. So it's just one of those things you can't really. It's kind of hard to project
Right.
and determine, but
We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see how
We'll
it goes.
see.
We'll see how it goes.
yeah.
But in the meantime, we're gonna break in our guy Eric here.
yes.
Break him in, jack of all trades. What have you not done, Eric? What have you not done?
Let's start from the beginning, maybe. How about that?
I know enough to know that I don't know anything. That's what I know.
That is wisdom. That is wisdom. Right?
Yes, yeah, that's very smart because a lot of times we don't know what we don't know, you know, until it's brought to our attention. It's like, oh wow, I never thought about it. So let's start from the beginning, Eric. I want to bring Eric in. The way me and Eric met, I want to say 3 years ago.
That was like five. That was like 2018, 2017,
Right.
around there when I was real active
Yes.
out there, you know, looking for deals actively here
Got
in
it.
the Fresno market. So
Yeah.
that was a while ago.
Wow. So hey, 2018, right? And we were actually at GB3. It's a gym. For those who are not familiar with GB3, George Brown. It's a exercise. It's a gym. It's a gym, workout gym. You can work out, exercise, all that. I think at the time I had a shirt on that said something about real estate. We buy houses or something, and we just started talking because you were at the time looking into investing, flipping, all of that, investing property.
Yeah, so I was definitely flipping back then. That's just what I was looking to do. I wasn't really interested in buying home or anything like that. I was just trying to make money fast, you know.
Yeah.
So that's and I started in 2017. 2017 is when I really got hip to real estate, and I went to a conference downtown, the convention center. Me and my cousins had just gotten back from Spain, and they were putting on an event. And I was telling my cousins, we gotta go.
Mhm.
And I was the only one that showed up. So I was in there solo, and it was Damon John was here, and
Oh, wow.
some couple other people. But that's when I first realized, I was like, dude, real estate is crazy. You can do a lot with it, right? So yeah, that's when I first got into real estate. And I was getting my master's at the time. So yeah, I was a
Okay.
year into my master's at the time.
So Fresno native.
Yeah, Fresno, born and raised. Went to Edison High. Went to Computech Middle School. I got in there.
Oh, you have to be smart then. You're a Computech. You smart, man. What's going on with? And judging by your major, which we'll get into, explains even more.
Yeah, so I did that. I grew up in Butler Park, so I grew up on the east side, went to school on the west side of Fresno, and then I graduated in 2008 from high school, went to City College, played football there for 2 years. Then I went to a school in Arkansas, played there for 2 years, and then came back home. What was that, 2013, I think?
Mm-hmm.
And then I started working my way towards my actual degree. So got my bachelor's in 2016 in kinesiology with an emphasis in exercise science. Then I got my master's in 2018, the same thing.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
And what you studied in college played an immediate role, right, into what you were doing, and not only as a passion, but for some income as well.
That's right. That's right. So 2016, I started personal training. Like I had been training people since high school. Really, I just didn't really know it was a thing at that time. You know.
You were just
But
helping somebody out at the time.
Yeah, we was all working out, so I was just doing my thing. But yeah, once I was like, I really liked it. I really enjoyed it because health is really the wealth, right?
Yeah.
You can have all the money in the world and be sick and be hating life. So,
Right.
So yeah, that's what really kind of led me that way. So I opened up a training company in 2016.
Okay.
And then I was doing that throughout school. And then I found real estate 2017, and we got into that and got into some drop shipping stuff on Amazon and all of that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've always been had this entrepreneurial mindset, like it seems like business mindset.
Yeah, I just knew I didn't want to work for nobody. Like, that's what.
When did you realize that?
I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it? What do you think it was that just turned you off to that?
I have no clue because both my parents, they worked 9-to-5 jobs. Maybe it was my grandfather, man. He was a lawyer, so that was kind of you own your own practice and things like that. So maybe that's kind of what I was emulating. But
and you were in Butler Park, right?
I was in Butler.
Was it? It's kind of a tough neighborhood, I think. Or no? Or was it at the time? I wasn't born here. But.
Yeah. So I've seen raids. I've seen people shot. I've helped people. Pressure on wounds and things like that.
Sure.
So it was, but it was normal. I didn't think it was anything weird about it or wrong with it.
Right.
Until 2013 is when I moved over to live with my grandparents because I started going to state, and they live off of Herndon. Maple and Knees up there, and that's what really opened my eyes
all
to
over the world, that side of town.
Yeah, right. It's like I never had a reason to go north of Shaw, so I lived in. I didn't really know it was stuff like River Park,
another side of the world.
Yeah, right. So it was really like a culture shock. Like, man, people are living like this in my city. Like, this is not that far away. Like, Fresno, you can get anywhere in 20 minutes, right? So that's what really kind of sparked like everything, and then from there I was like, okay, how can I make my own money?
So that was inspirational to you then, seeing something else, another side of life.
Different way of life. Yeah.
For sure, getting out that environment, and it's not like I didn't think there was anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
So it was
I get it.
It was just
I
life.
kind of grew up the same way.
Right.
My neighborhood in San Francisco was horrible in the 80s and 90s. But it was common to go to sleep with gunshots. Like, if it wasn't gunshots, I was like, what? It's kind of quiet tonight.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's the sad part, and that's just, it is what it is.
It is.
Yeah.
But that's why I think the environment is paramount. When you got people just wondering why certain people are stuck in certain situations, it's like, bro, they don't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know anything different than what they live in.
So get out and see the world.
Yeah, so that's one of my big motivations to become successful in all of this stuff, is to just show people where I grew up, like, look, it could be something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Life is what you make it. So, but yeah, anyway, so.
No, that's amazing, man. And I'm sure you had good parents, good family around you to keep you out of that environment. Because at least in my situation, I was fortunate to have my parents both in the home, and I was afraid of my dad for sure. Actually, I might have been more afraid of my mom. She would spank me the most, but they kept me out, going down the path a lot. I would say, all the other friends in my neighborhood went down.
Yeah.
I can think right now, 100% of all the friends that I hung out with growing up in my neighborhood, they all went towards the gang, the drugs, and that route. They sent me to a different school. Like, I went to a Catholic school. So they worked hard to keep me out of that, which I commend them, because it worked. I ended up playing sports, going to school, being a good kid. I was a square. Hey, no worries. I was happy being a square because you know, I wasn't trying to be out there doing the, you know, all that, getting involved in that, but that's a beautiful thing, man.
For sure.
So yeah, parenting is very important.
It is. It is.
I was gonna get into the investment, but did you want to touch on it?
Go for
Okay.
it. Go for it.
So I was gonna fast forward, man. So your first business, what was the first business venture? Was it the workout?
Yeah, it was a fitness business for sure. And then the next year, 2017, we opened a real estate company. It was me and a couple of my cousins.
Talk about that. Yeah, what was it about it?
You know what?
Experience like?
It was an experience. I assumed that because we grew up together, they had the same drive and work ethic and things like that, and we had the same motivations.
Mhm.
And it wasn't the case, and it's nothing wrong with that, but I put it all on me because I made a lot of assumptions, you know, going into the business. Oh, I know these guys, I love these guys, I grew up with these guys, and we were different.
Mhm.
So I really put it on me as my fault for assuming so much without any type of clarity or discussion. So
Right.
so the business didn't work out too well. We did some deals, did some flips, but I ended up pulling out because I was just burnt out. Like at the time, I was in my master's degree. I was earning that. I was training people. I was flipping, you know, real estate, and I was teaching biomechanics at Fresno State. So
Wow.
it was it was too much stuff going on.
You forgot to mention, and you were tired.
Yeah, right.
Was it,
You had to be. You had to be.
Yo, I was beat. I was beat.
Got
And you were playing football too?
I wasn't.
At
No,
the time,
no. So
okay.
my football career ended when I left Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So you came back here and started that business. Talk about where do you look in retrospect, the investment business in particular. What did you learn from that, and what did you see in retrospect like that was wrong? Like what was wrong? What did you learn? What could have been better? What would you have done different?
Everything. I would have done everything different.
Yeah.
So my very first flip, I was in there doing the work. I was, you know, tearing stuff down, putting stuff up. I was doing sheetrock. I was doing, I stained floors, hardwood floors. I was doing all types of stuff. And you know what? It's a complete waste of time. You think you're saving money because you don't want to play the contractors, but we ended up working on that first house for, I want to say 6 months. And luckily, luckily the market was in our favor. So we bought it at 116. We put like 60, 70 into it, and we ended up selling it for 225 or 230.
Wow.
So
did you get most of the chunk of the profit? Because it seems like you did most of the work.
Nah, man. And that's what turned me off. Like, you know, at the end of the day, I was in there every single day. Like I was at the house so much that, you know, the Google view, they do the satellite photo. You saw my car
Really? Bro, man, dude, so if you look right now,
I was there every day, man.
That's great.
Work, so
yeah. But there's a positive in that. I know it sucked in the moment, but I'm sure out of that came a lot of learning. You know, a lot of good things came out of that experience. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Now you know better. You can do better. You can understand what's.
And just basic knowledge about houses,
right?
You know, foundations, like what are like stucco, just this drywall, fashion, just roofs, everything, like all the stuff that you wouldn't know. I mean, we live in houses, obviously, and there's a lot of stuff in there that you don't know what's going on, right?
Did you have any material used? You're like,
right.
Put it together, I bought it.
That's it. That's it.
Did you have any handyman experience prior to working to that deal? Did you know anything about houses prior to that?
Like YouTube University.
Really? No, this is a great story.
Yeah, I didn't know any of that stuff, man.
So you went from someone who didn't know how to you probably can, I don't know.
I changed my
probably paint.
I did stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about houses.
Really? So wow. So you just went and did it.
Yeah. It was definitely fresh experience. And they converted the garage to a bedroom. So it was a lot of stuff that needed to be done to that.
But you got it done yourself. Did you ever at some point eventually bring in a handyman, a contractor?
Yeah. So we had a contractor. They came in. They put a new roof on it. They did some because they didn't have central AC, so they put some ducts in there, put the AC up. I ended up hiring some painters, and of course we had cabinets granted in there. But and we rolled out some carpet, but yeah, like all the demo, the staining the floors. I put up some sheetrock, closed some doors off, and things like that. But
Man,
yeah.
all YouTube University. So that's a great point because basically there's no excuses for anyone, right? I mean, we got so much information. You can learn anything you want to learn if you're really motivated and you really want to get something done, and you got that drive. You can do anything in life. It just goes to show. You know, it might take a long, but you can learn and do it.
Yeah. Yeah, you said that was an experience. That's how you described that. You know, so we were talking off record here, and we'll get back to that too. But you got a deal going on right now, so clearly that experience was not a deterrent for you. So you stayed in it. We talked about what was tough about it. What did you like? What did you see? Like what did you feel that made you say, God, man, this system needs to be tweaked, but I'm staying in it?
Yeah. Just the process, man. I enjoy the hard work. I do. Like it's just the process, and then being able to pick a buyer. Like we had a bunch of buyers. We ended up selling it. I think people were putting like 10 to 15,000 over, but it didn't appraise for that. So we ended up having to cut it down, and we sold it at, I want to say it was 225. I can't remember. But just the whole process, and then being able to choose, like we had all of these, these offers, and then I ended up choosing a single mom, because I felt for it, right? Like, so she single mom, put in the work, got her stuff together, her numbers were right, and I was just like, yeah, let's go for her. And I don't know, man. And then just seeing where it was, like it was in shambles. It was such a terrible property to what we got it to. It was like I did
just the whole right. It's just that prideful moment
for a deserving family too. You're like, okay,
it's a beautiful story.
I want to keep doing this.
Right.
I want to do more of this. Of course, there's monetary gain for you on the back end.
There it is.
But still, just like there's got to be something, because if monetary gain was all people wanted, we would all be in med school or something. There's a ton of monetary gain there, but it's those other little things that keep you involved in this, most of the time, headache of a process.
Right.
You got all these moving pieces, man, and then we didn't even really talk about how was the group aspect as far as personality. Workload management, was it even? Was it not? We didn't even talk about that, but that's another portion of it that could easily make people say, just, man, fuck this. I'm never flipping another house
every
again.
Every partnership or dynamic, there's always going to feel like someone's doing more than the other. I think that goes across the board in a lot of partnerships. Unless, they've been working, they got it dialed in. But prior to that, I think a lot of times it's going to feel like one person's always going to feel like they're doing a little bit more than the other person, and they're going to always feel like they deserve a little bit more, but it can get tricky.
And that's why I said I blame myself, because I went in there with so many assumptions. Just whenever, and I'm not even going to say it's bad to go in business with your family, but just have those hard discussions prior to getting in an LLC together, because that's what we had. Have those discussions like, look, this is what you're going to do, this is what you're going to do, and this is what I expect of you. Because, and then if you don't hold up to your end of the bargain, what are going to be the consequences? Because everybody wants to act like everything is just always good, and it's just not. So, but have those conversations, man. You got to, because even in my exit of the company, we had a meeting, and I told one of my partners specifically, I said, look, I care way more about our relationship than I do about money. So to me, it's in our best interest if we split ways doing business so we can maintain this relationship. Because I was pissed. I was like, look, I'm here every day, all of that stuff. So, but if that conversation was had before we even, established the company, then, we wouldn't even got to that point.
So set those boundaries. Treat it like a business. Maybe put some bylaws or something into the company that states what happens if X happens. Okay, those are good tips.
Everyone delegate duties to each person. Each person is responsible for a certain thing. And when you meet, you just check in. Hey, how's this section going? How are you doing with that? How are you doing with this? And then so I think like you said, initially,
Right.
everyone knows their duties, what their responsibility is, and should be very fair.
And I heard this one time. I don't think that I necessarily agree with it 100%, but it does hold some weight. I can't remember who said it or what podcast it was on, but one of these. It was definitely a real estate mogul, somebody who owns some property,
Mhm.
and he had said the only ship that doesn't float is a partnership. And I was like, that's kind of tough, man. I mean, because you can find the right partner. We all got strengths and weaknesses, and if I find the opposite in somebody, that could be amazing.
Right.
I mean, that just to be able to teamwork make the dream work. Everybody's heard that,
Yeah.
but when I heard this, I was like, whoa, well, that's kind of harsh.
Well,
but to be
yeah.
honest, I mean, there's probably some truth to that.
I think there is. I think there is truth to it, but as long as everything is established prior,
Right.
Yeah. Right, it has to be. It has to be in writing. It has to be real because everybody wants to make money with their family. Like if so, and we need each other. There's no such thing as a self-made millionaire, right? Everybody has somebody to pull them up or educate them or whatever. So I feel both sides.
You feel both.
Yeah, I think once you guys are on the same page, it's going to take a lot of dialogue, a lot of communication, everybody on the same page, everybody knows their role specifically. It can be powerful, right? I don't know the extent of this partnership, but I know they're billionaires and they've been doing this for years together. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, that's just one example. Again, I don't know the whole dynamics of their partnership, but I mean, you always hear their names together connecting. And there's multiple other relationships and partnerships that are super successful and work great. I think it's just a matter of
There's probably been days where they wanted to duke it out. Get the gloves, bro.
Yeah.
Right?
Get the
I
gloves.
would pay to
bro.
see pay-per-view right now.
Get the gloves, Warren.
Yeah.
Get the gloves. This is you. And then we'll pick our stocks after that. Man. But we need to go right now. I'm sure that happens.
Speaking of which, did you hear about Zuck and Elon Musk are supposed to do like a fight?
Is that real?
Yeah.
I saw.
I mean, I heard that
Is it real?
Elon Musk
Yeah,
and Mark Zuckerberg
I
are supposed to
think
get in the ring.
Zuck does
It's training,
jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I think he does.
Right.
I think he does.
And initially, I'm like, man, Elon will get him, will knock him out. But then I'm like, well, I didn't realize Zuckerberg is actually doing some training.
But
So
Elon is just huge,
But
though.
yeah,
Have you seen how?
he's a big dude.
He's a big dude.
He's not really in shape though. I don't think.
I think he's like 6'4".
He's a big guy.
He's
He's just big. Like I don't know about like super strong, but just a big guy.
dense.
Mass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a big cat.
yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I'd watch it, but at the flip side, I'm like,
I think
They're not-
Elon would take him.
like is that what we've resorted to in life? Like you got
That's the
what I mean?
ultimate test
Like,
of who's really it.
you know what I mean? Like is that where we're at now in our life, in our world? Like, come on, you got billionaires now trying to fight in the ring. Like, there's no other way to compete. Or why compete? How about sit down and try to come together and work on something massive that's going to benefit the world? We've got so many.
Well,
I'm playing.
I'm for the people. I might work there one day.
I think competition.
No, I'm just
is good,
saying.
though.
Yeah, well, competition's good, definitely. But it depends on. I think it depends on the type. Like, do we really need to see them fighting in the ring?
No.
Is that competition? Right? Like,
That
who wants to see it? You know what I mean? Like, what is that going to prove?
or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see who competes. Who can donate the most? Who can raise the most for homeless? Who can raise? Let's have a competition to where it's someone is going to really a group of people are going to really benefit from the outcome, right? Let's compete and see who can do the most positive or whatever. But just fighting, it might be good for entertainment, unless. So maybe this is the goal, right? Maybe the goal is to do a pay-per-view, and everything, all the money raised from that, donating, right? I can see that. I can see that.
So we've established that your physical capabilities aren't necessarily something you need for business, right? I mean,
Not at all.
But
I'm gonna see you in the
you
ring.
do.
We're gonna go
make this happen. Heat speakers, charity.
He's speaking.
I'll let you run around.
Right?
I'll let you run around.
I got a few more years on you, man. But don't
So-
sleep on me.
Yeah. So physical capabilities aren't what's needed. But what are some skill sets that you realized you had or that you worked on while you were becoming an entrepreneur? Because you've been all over, man, with fitness and real estate, and so what are some skill sets that
We haven't even talked about solar yet.
We haven't even gotten solar. We haven't even gotten
He's got
solar.
solar too, man. This guy.
My skill set is Optimism.
Mm.
I think that is like, I am a firm believer in you create your paradigm,
Mm.
right? I think so many, and I have this discussion a lot, especially with black people. You have to stop being the victim.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
You know, victimhood is destroying us as a community. Like, you know, there's so many. Yeah, like growing up as an African American, did I get followed in stores? Yes. You know, did I get pulled over all the time? Because when I was at City College, I drove for Me and Ed's Pizza, I did delivery, and I would get pulled over for everything. I've been pulled over for hit and run. I've been pulled over for grand theft auto. Never cited, never ticketed, none of that stuff. But so I've experienced all of that stuff. You know, but at the end of the day, I create my paradigm, period. Like nothing outside of me is going to control me. Nothing outside of me is going to dictate what I do in my life. You know, I have all the outcomes in my hand. So as long as I keep educating myself and moving forward and taking the steps, then eventually I'm going to have an outcome, and it's going to be an outcome that favors me.
I love 100%.
I love that.
That right there speaks volumes. And at the end of the day, there's a lot of obstacles we all face, right? But there's one thing: getting ourselves better and getting better at whatever it is we're doing in life. You know, whether it's business or whatever, being a better person, just better at our craft, better at our skill. And of course, you know, you can experience some of what you just said, but if you just stay consistent, keep improving on yourself, you're going to be successful regardless of what's out there. And God first. I mean, come on. You got God on your side. You got the non-resistant factor. I'm going to stay consistent. I'm going to keep getting better. That's the recipe for success. Period. Just keep going. It might take a year. A lot of times it takes 5 to 10, but it will happen at some point as long as you stay on the path. And it's
I think a lot of people don't really realize how much being better at multiple areas of your life are going to affect your business. So, like, I mean, we're talking about, just, being optimistic and controlling your outcomes.
Yeah.
But if you're working on being better and what's required of you, maybe for 3 or 4 days in a row, is to be a better son or be a better husband, that's going to translate to how you respond to your business partners, how you respond to that realtor that starts yelling at you, how you respond to that appraisal that comes in 20 below. I mean, all of that is going, just being better in general is going to carry over into your business. So that only comes from having that mindset.
And this is what I heard too. The reason people are super successful, not because they're a better person or necessarily super smarter, they're able to handle more issues or things a lot better than the average person, right? When things go south, things aren't going away, they know how to deal with it. They're calm, collective. A lot of people get emotional. They turn to, they get frustrated, aggravated, and they give up. They're, overwhelmed and break down. But no, the more, over time the experience comes, the more you're able to handle, the more you're able to resolve solutions, the more successful you'll start being, because you know how to deal with different situations and scenarios at a calm manner. And you're able to think clearly because you're not emotional about it. And that helps you navigate.
And I think one of the first the foundational pieces is to find out who you are for who you are, not like what your parents or whoever brought you up told you should be. Find out who you want to be, and then operate from that position. Like so many people react to stuff instead of respond to it. It's just like a visceral, like, I'm just gonna go. And then 10 minutes later, you don't even know why you did that. Right? It's because people don't take the time to think about stuff. People are just, out there. So,
and I learned that early. You don't want to run a business reactionary. You want to be able to be in a position of power whenever you're making decisions. And that calls for situations going south. Don't just react quickly, get all excited, start making calls and cussing and just going crazy. Sit back, take a couple minutes, breathe. Think about a solution. What are some of the options we have to resolve this situation? Because truly, that's the only thing that's going to resolve that issue is working together collaboratively with another. If you're a real estate agent, with another agent, or if you're doing a business deal with another business partner, whatever. Calm, collective. Let's collaborate. Let's come up with solutions.
Yeah,
because complaining
thing, right?
and everything else is doing nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's wasted energy.
For sure. Yeah, man.
But I find it best to just hop on the phone and just MF everybody involved in the transaction.
Right?
Things will get done.
At some point, right? Yeah.
Things will get done. I'll get fired. That's when it's done.
Yeah.
No,
But,
you're right. You're right, though. You're right. I mean, it's yeah.
But it comes with experience, though. It's nothing that's taught. It's nothing you can hear about it, but you really got to go through certain things and just and eventually get there to that point. I don't know what it is. I think it starts with self-help and building that mindset.
Personal development.
You got personal development, books, self-help books, reading, learning how to be a better. That personal development, man, is so underrated, man.
It's got this negative connotation about it, like something's wrong with you. Like, you're in the self-help book section of the bookstore.
Yeah.
Oh, something's wrong with that dude.
But every
it's
successful
got that.
multi-millionaire, billionaire, they always say, I learned everything I know in books by reading. Right? Think about it. They read.
Yeah.
The successful, most successful people read books,
Mhm.
right? So we know they're reading a lot about themselves early on and just always trying to grow, always trying to get better. You never know enough.
And that's when I picked up the habit of reading in 2017.
Oh, great.
Because I was learning real estate, but it's so much information out there.
It's
man. So, and then you can read somebody's entire career,
Mm.
in like 4 weeks.
Yeah.
It's all in there. You just gotta be willing to do it and then implement.
Mhm.
I think so many people are just petrified, right? They get some information like, okay, I know I need to do this, I need to find the comps, I need to blah blah blah, and just freeze.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna do nothing because it's uncomfortable,
It
right?
is.
Like
Yeah.
It's easy to learn, though. I think I just was watching a podcast this morning about the same thing. People who just want a lot of information. They know it, but they just want to keep getting more information because they feel fulfilled or successful by knowing the information,
Yeah.
but they're not acting on it. They're not.
Just
So they're just always looking for more information.
Paralyzed.
They're overdosing on information.
Analysis paralysis
That's
is
it.
what I've heard
Yeah.
described.
Yeah.
It's just
And-
analyzing,
Yeah.
and you just stay in one spot.
Yeah.
And you're looking for something like a golden ticket, something like, oh, that one thing is gonna, I can do this today, tomorrow I'll make a bunch of money, and that just doesn't exist.
Yeah, man. Yeah, people need persistence. We have to learn delayed gratification.
Yeah.
Right now we're just in a microwave society where everything needs to be right now. Like if it doesn't happen in a week, 2 weeks, then it's just like
Yeah.
you gotta be able to delay that. Man.
Is social media to blame?
I think it's just society in general, man. I'm not a big social media person. I can't really speak to it, but I know that it definitely influences people, for sure.
It's a big reach. Some people got a big reach on there.
Yeah,
They're spreading the message, a victim mindset message. There's a lot of people seeing that.
That part too.
There's a lot of people seeing that.
For sure.
So,
And everybody wants to place the blame.
yeah.
Too, man.
And also, I was going as far as like the ones that are on there, flashing their successes and, young.
Highlight reel.
Yeah, I got this, Ferrari, I got this blah, blah, I got this. So a lot of people are looking at that like, wow, they're young, they're successful, and so now they're comparing themselves to them and thinking that, oh, well, I just, if I do this real quick, I should have that, this year. Then that same person will try whatever. The average person, honestly, is just, they don't do things, they're not committed long enough and consistent long enough in anything to get that success, right? Even myself, I was a victim of that as well, like prior, right? You'll try something, you're like, oh, this new thing, this new business, this is going to create millions. This guy on TikTok, he just talked about it. He's $10 million in a year, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna start doing that, right? And then a lot of people get all excited. They're reading books. They're setting it up. They're getting the business going. 2-3 months in, slowly diminishing. Now 3-4 months later, nah, man, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work, right?
Yeah, I tried that. I did it. It's a scam. And now now they tell everybody around them, don't do that. It doesn't work.
Just perpetuates
Yeah,
the
and now that other person who might have possibly been successful, they didn't realize that person only tried it for a few months and
Right.
didn't have success. So now they're telling everybody it doesn't work, which is so false.
Yeah, and even if somebody does explode like that and make 10 million in a year, you don't know what they have been doing prior to that.
Right.
They could have tried 1,500 different things
Mhm.
before they finally hit that thing and it blew up. And all of it's compounding.
Yeah.
Right? You don't learn something and then unlearn it to learn the next thing, right? Everything is compounding.
Right.
So,
All those failures played a part.
Right,
That could have been year
right.
10 vision, but it looks like year 1.
Yeah.
But that could have been year 10 vision.
right, for sure.
And everybody's dynamic is so different. You know, some people have a little upper edge just because of who they are and how they were, you know, they're fortunate to be born in an environment where they got a lot of family that have maybe money and successful, that they were raised in the upper class. So when they're trying something, they got people that are just spending money with them right away because that's, you know, but everyone's not like that. A lot of people are starting
Most people ain't like
less fortunate, right? So they have to build it up slowly but surely, one block at a time. But again, if you do it so long, you're gonna eventually reach your success if you stay with it.
that. You will.
You're gonna have failures, but that road to success is not easy. It's ugly,
Yeah.
right? It's not. You're gonna be in the trenches. You're gonna have good times. You're gonna have bad times. You're gonna feel like a failure. You're gonna feel like you're on top of the world. Then you're gonna feel like a failure again. You're gonna feel like you're on top of the world. And you're like, man, I hate this. It's not gonna work. And you're like, oh man, this is the best bit. I mean, it's a lot of emotional aspects in that journey, right?
Full learning experience.
It's all, but if you come from a point, and this is what books teach you, the mindset, like you gotta not look at those as failures, look at those as, oh man, that didn't work out. But I'm glad because now I know next time I'm faced with this challenge, I know what to do. I know what to navigate. I've been here before.
You're not starting from scratch, you start from experience.
Yeah.
So again, I like that.
Yeah, I read that somewhere. I can't remember where. But
Yeah.
I always
You're not
remember these little. You know, when you fail and you start again, you know, don't be too worried because you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience.
I love it. That's it. That's gold right there, for
Yeah.
sure. For sure.
So speaking on that experience, you have a new venture,
Yeah, I do.
right? And to me, this is something that I don't know that I would have the guts to get up and do, man.
He's stripping. He's
so-
stripping now.
Yeah.
Is that what it
that's
is?
easy. I-
Shipping deals? Oh,
Matter
right,
of fact,
You supposed
So
to
that's
say
one
that,
more.
man.
So you're solar now. You're selling solar
Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing solar.
and door to door.
Yeah, so
Okay.
so my solar experience started early. I've been doing it for about 8 months now, and the reason I got into it is because after when COVID hit, I was still doing my training business. I had put down real estate because I was fed up, but I was doing my training business. COVID hit, everything went overnight. It was gone, right? So I was kind of just sitting on my hands for a little while. Started doing some online training, but that wasn't really getting any traction. So I started working a job, and this was like nails against a chalkboard, man. I was there. I was managing a company, at a place called Lovesac. It's a furniture company, and dude, just standing around for 8 hours a day, waiting for people to come in, going from, you know, real estate and personal training and, you know, school and all that stuff to just standing around. It was killing me. So this year in February, I ran into a friend that I worked with, and she was telling me that she's in this new venture and she made X amount of money in the past 3 months, and I was like, that sounds interesting. So she invited me to some meetings. I learned it, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then I quit my job, and then jumped all in, bro.
Hey, you're just an entrepreneur at heart, right? That W-2 ain't working.
It is. I can't do
Natural.
it, man. And hey, for people who can, it's not
Kudos.
Yeah. You
It's
know,
nothing wrong.
it's something for everybody. It just ain't for me.
Right.
But yeah, I got into solar, man, and really learned the game. And
What company you with?
I'm with.
Can you say it?
I don't know, bro. I don't know, so I ain't gonna say that.
Why not? I mean, why not?
But you know, I'll
promote your company.
Yeah.
If you want.
I'm with the biggest residential solar company in the nation. We got close to 1 million customers.
Wow.
You'll see us in Costco and Home Depot. We got partnerships with Ford and Lululemon and Nike and all of that stuff. So It's a reputable company,
Gotcha.
multi-billion-dollar company. So, yeah, they've been around about 17 years. So,
Yeah.
if you want to know who it is, just go in Costco.
Yeah, or just reach out to you. Let's talk about solar, because I know there's a lot of questions, a lot of people not too familiar exactly all about solar. They know a little bit and this and that. I don't know where you want to start with, but maybe, yeah, I know, right? Okay, maybe we'll start here. What are some of the objections you hear about solar, and then let's clear up, what solar really is, how the benefits are
For sure.
for you.
So, most people that I talk to, because like I said, I go door to door, knocking on doors. Most people, the first thing they tell me is that they're not interested, and most people they just don't know who to trust, right? Because honestly, especially in California, you'll see things like people coming from Texas and Arkansas and Tennessee, build up a company real quick, sell a bunch of stuff, and then leave. And then people are screwed. Like, they'll have panels that aren't hooked up. So it is some stuff out there that you need to be careful of. But most people that have adopted solar like early, like my grandparents, they got their panels like 10 years ago, before it was really, really, really booming. But most people get just experiences from people that they know, and they take that as the Bible. Right. So things like true up bills, that's something that's really big. People are like, well, my friend, they got solar, and now they still have to pay PG&E X amount of money. So there's really like 3 reasons why you would have a true up bill. One is that a true up bill just means that the panels that you have on your home are not producing enough energy to match what you're actually using.
The output. Right.
Yeah, the output. So the first thing is people think energy is free. So they get panels on their house and they're like, I can do whatever I want.
Turn all the lights on.
I could just do whatever I want. It's like, no, if it's done properly, the system was built based on how much energy you've used in the past.
Right.
So that's how we build the system, right? So if you use 10,000 kilowatts the past 12 months, don't go and use 13 because you have solar, right? Because you're gonna owe, right? So that's one big thing. 2 is that a few years ago, California actually had a cap on how much, energy can be produced by solar. So you were cut off at like 80%. So if you did use 10,000 kilowatts in a year, California only allowed you to put 80% of that in panels on your roof. Okay, so they needed to get utility because the utilities, PG&E, Edison, they're state-owned, right? So they got to get their money somehow. Yeah. So, but now, you can get 100%, 120%, 150%, whatever you really want, right? And then the third thing is that as we've gone on, homes have been becoming more electrified. Like, I don't even know if, like, this year, I was talking to a builder earlier this year, and he was like, yeah, this year, California is no longer running gas lines to new builds.
I know.
That's crazy.
Right, it's all electric, everything.
100% electric, dude. Like, and we already have major grid issues as it is.
And they're trying to get all vehicles to be electric. How is that going to happen?
They're putting, my house was built in 2019, and they put that EV vehicle outlet in the garage. Now, and we don't have one, so I'm just like, dang. It's coming standard.
Time to get that Tesla, man. Time to get it. It's standard. It's crazy how they do it. And all the new builds, from my experience, they're coming with solar already.
So in 2020, they passed that Renewable Energy Act. And ever since then, every new build has to come with panels.
And I think a lot of people just get confused. I mean, I talked to a lot of homeowners, including myself. When I had solar, I had a home. I didn't know much about it. The guy came in, talked up a good deal. We ended up buying the solar, and then we sold the house maybe 4 years later. And I wasn't prepared for the, we still owed on the solar panels, and quite a chunk of the proceeds went to that because for some reason this company didn't allow the loan to be transferred. The value, the loan to be transferred to a new buyer. So therefore it had to be all paid during the escrow, which cut in, of course, but that was a wake up experience for me to where a lot of people, I didn't really know, you know.
And that's stuff that, you know, people wouldn't know unless your rep told you. So,
Right. So I think,
yeah. So there are 4 ways you can get panels. One is a loan, where you can buy it and, you know, over time pay it off. But with that there's pros and cons.
Yeah.
You know, then you can do a PPA.
Wait, real quick, before you go on, what are some of the cons for getting the loan?
So cons with the loan is, one, you have to qualify for the loan,
Okay.
right? So they're gonna hit your credit, things like that. And then once you get the panels on your house, typically that comes with the lien, right? So they put a lien on your property, and since you are purchasing them, it's considered a home upgrade, so your taxes increase, right? So the value of your home does go up, but the taxes increase, okay? And then when you try to sell your home, right, the person not only has to qualify for the loan for the house, they got to qualify for the loan for the panels.
If it's assumable, right?
If it's assumable.
Because some companies, so that's a very key thing to ask
Yeah.
whoever solar company, and that's what we
I've
found.
actually never
We
seen
didn't-
that before. What you just said.
I didn't know.
Either.
And I really want to say the name of the company, but I'm gonna hold back.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were like, man, we tried everything, but they're like, no, it's not a
Yeah.
assumable loan. We have to, it
That's-
has to be paid off. And it was like, wow.
Yeah, that's nuts.
So yeah, we had to draw like 18K out of the proceeds
Yeah,
to the company before that person was able to purchase it. Which,
yeah, that's
And the buyers were like, cool.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I got cheaper.
Crazy,
right? It was just
Yeah. So, and then lastly, I would say is a con is that people are just uneducated in how they're getting their rebate, or it's not even a rebate, like their federal tax credit. So
whose fault is that? I'm just curious. Like, is it the salesperson that comes to the house and really not explaining the whole everything? Is it the lack of people doing their research or asking the right questions?
Yeah.
Is it a combination?
I think it's just ignorance on the fact that people don't know how taxes work is crazy.
Well, you don't know what you don't know.
You've been paying it for whatever, but it's like your job to educate yourself. And you know what? I digress because I read stuff. Like if I don't know something, I'm gonna go find out. I ain't just gonna guess.
Especially if
Yeah.
it's coming out your pocket. You're like, well, wait a minute. Well,
Right.
why
But there's a
is-
lot of people that'll just take, whatever the salesperson says, and they
True.
feel good and feel fuzzy inside. Oh, I trust this guy, he's a great guy, and
Yeah.
I think we're comfortable. Let's go. They don't do more than that.
Yeah, so what you're not gonna get is money back. When you buy your panels, people think that, I get a 30% federal tax credit. You're not getting that in cash. They're not sending you a check, So if you have like a large tax burden that you owe to the government at the end of the year, it might make sense for you to buy panels because you can write that off.
Yeah, they do come handy with write-offs.
But if the government's giving you money at the end of the year and you don't owe anything, you're not getting anything from purchasing your panels.
Gotcha.
So that's just how it works.
Right.
And moving forward, if y'all, you guys need to know that. Right?
No, that's good to know. That's why you're here. So, what are the benefits of owning it? Then I'm just trying to.
So the benefits of owning it is that once you pay it off, you got it cheaper. You're not paying anything for electricity.
As long as you don't go over the energy that it puts out.
Exactly.
Right.
So
Otherwise, you'll tap into PG&E.
you'll tap into PG&E. So yeah, before this law change recently in April, like I felt comfortable getting people in at like 110, 120% of what they use, just as a buffer, because you never know, maybe they did want to get an electric vehicle.
Right.
Maybe they did, were expanding their family or wanted a pool or whatever.
Right,
You
right.
want that buffer, but yeah, before it was worth it. Now the laws change and things are a little different. So now we have batteries with our system, so it makes it a lot more efficient. And we partnered with Tesla, so we do the Tesla Powerwall batteries, and
Oh wow.
they're super dope batteries.
Nice.
But yeah, but the option that I always recommend that everyone goes to, unless you owe money to the government, a lot of money, is called a PPA.
Is that power purchase
Power
agreement?
purchase agreement. So that's what I go door to door for, and I try to help people understand it. And basically, what that is where if the home can qualify, we would come, put panels and a battery on your house, and you would just get the power from those panels and that battery. You don't purchase the equipment. It's not your responsibility. You don't look after it. Everything is run through the company that I work for. So they do all the maintenance, all the replacements, all the production guarantees. We have a bunch of that stuff in place. So, but what it does is it locks your rate in.
Right.
So not only does it give you a cheaper rate, and nobody knows how to read their electric bill. Like, you'd be surprised. Like, they don't even know half the stuff that's on there. They're getting taxes and fees and all this stuff, and they're just like, whatever. But what it does is it fixes your rate. So, like, imagine if I came to you 5 years ago and said, hey, Mark, if you qualify for this program, man, you'll get your gas at $2 a gallon, and it can only increase 5 cents a year. How would you feel about that? You'd be like, yeah, I'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's pretty much what this program does, but for your electricity, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, so it keeps your rate low. You know exactly what you're paying every single month. You know how much it's going to go up every single year. You got everything.
And if you sell, it's pretty much an easier transfer.
Yeah, and if you sell because you don't own the equipment, and this is how California is doing energy now, solar is everywhere, so it just transfers names. Just like PG&E does now, you just call them up and say, hey, this is a new owner, blah, 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 and then boom, it just switches over.
Awesome, man.
And side note on those PPAs, for refinances, like if you're keeping the home, but you're gonna be switching banks, since these are liens on there, or the financing, they will subordinate, meaning that they will temporarily get off of the house so that you can pay off whatever bank and refinance and then go back on. Whereas if you do some of the like the PACE or Hero loans, they will not do that.
Yeah.
They will not do that.
They've been known to mess up quite a few real estate
Pay
transactions.
us off and then
Yeah.
go ahead and refinance.
Those type of
It's wild.
those type of loans
But with
kill
the
deals.
Lease agreements, purchase power agreements,
You don't get
easy to keep and do your refinance.
Yeah, because you don't, there is no lien, there's no loan involved. We're not asking for your income. We don't care about any of that stuff.
Very,
it's
very
it's all about the house. Like, does the house qualify? Can it support solar? Blah blah blah. And if it can, then boom, we can get. And what people don't really think about is, especially now, that you have to have a battery attached. Our company, the battery lifespan is about 10 years. Right? So every 10 years, we're going to come out and replace the batteries. If you own that equipment, that's on you. Right? So you have to cough up another, depending on what battery you get, $10,000 to $18,000. So there's just so many benefits to this PPA option that people just.
I wish I would have known this.
Yeah, everybody thinks it's a scam, and they're just like, I can't get it for free. And my aunt's brother's mom said, it's just like, dude,
Get the facts from the horses.
Get the facts and look it up. All of this stuff is like PG&ECurrents.com. That's their website for their news. Like, people don't realize that they just settled for $25.5 billion for the fires that they caused, burning up Paradise, that city, Butte County, all those fires. That stuff is coming from faulty electrical equipment. Right. And then they're getting sued, and then they're charging us as the consumers to cover their settlement fees.
No wonder the PG&E bill is so high this year.
Their cost per kilowatt, right?
Ridiculous.
Their cost per kilowatt went up ridiculous.
So
you definitely don't. You want enough panels to cover your usage, otherwise that true bill is coming.
And people, you guys definitely, if you're interested in solar or want to just know information, how can I reach you? Because you're going to give you the straight facts like it is.
I'm not one of those, like, I do this because I know it's going to help people.
Right.
Like, I've hooked up my cousins, my aunts, my uncles. Like, the only reason I haven't put my grandparents on it, they already got the stuff. They already got the system.
Yeah.
So,
sure.
But y'all can just call me. I got a number here. It's 310-737-8498.
Yeah.
You just call me or text me, and if I don't feel like it can help you for whatever reason, I'm not gonna try to sell you.
Yeah.
So if it
Yeah.
ain't gonna help, there's plenty of people it will help. So,
Just get the information, consultation, right? Ask questions. Eric's
ask some questions.
Yeah, get the real here. I think we should let's wrap it up on this. Is that
Yeah, no, yeah, let's wrap it up. Yeah, hey.
Last question that we ask everyone on the show. I think we might have touched on this earlier. Top 3 hip hop artists, right? But let's go back, from the time, I know things have changed, but when you were
so
on the scene, who are you listening to?
I would say Mac Dre.
Wow, okay. We haven't heard that one yet.
Mac Dre,
definitely.
I grew up on Mac Dre, so he was heavily influential in my life. Probably negative, but a lot of memories listening to Mac Dre. So Mac Dre for sure. Dang, only 3.
It gets tricky, yeah.
I gotta say Nip. I gotta say Nipsey
Hussle, good.
He was fire. And then just everything he stood for, man, and the person he was. And then last, I would say it's a toss-up between Lil Wayne and J. Cole.
Wow, love it.
Like when I was, back then Lil Wayne, not
now
Lil Wayne.
Well, Lil Wayne now hasn't lost from what I'm hearing, like even his new music,
Dude, but back then his mixtapes, the Carter 3.
Right. Yeah, he was putting out so much.
Dude, he
Watch My Shoes, that album, that mixtape. Gee,
what was that mixtape called, man?
Watch My Shoes.
No Ceilings.
No Ceilings. Yeah,
No Ceilings.
Yeah, Watch My Shoes.
Man, that mixtape, memories.
When you hear the little flicks.
Yeah.
Oh, here we come. Boy, here we come.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Lil
Wayne.
Wayne,
That's a good
I
one.
think he doesn't get as much, because he set a trend, a new wave of artists.
Yeah, he built.
Even today, all the artists, the rappers that we
Nicki,
see,
Drake,
Young Thug, all these artists that are hot now, they're a branch off of Lil Wayne's tree, right? He influenced this whole next generation of artists.
That's a good one.
And then J. Cole.
And J. Cole, of course.
J. Cole, yeah.
He was up in mine when I said.
I don't even know, does he still even make music? Like, I haven't heard anything from J.
J. Cole.
He does.
He still does?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I haven't seen a whole project yet, but I guess maybe I'm behind. I don't know. Solid, man. Well, man, it's
Good stuff.
great.
Good stuff.
Hey, fire show guys, man. Eric Guy, man, reach out to him.
Appreciate y'all having me on.
Absolutely.
Epitome of business, man.
Thanks for coming,
Entrepreneurship.
Yeah, you got the mindset, man. You got the mindset. I'm excited to see you keep going. Hopefully, we can get some real estate deals in, man. I know you're still out there.
Yeah.
Hey,
Ryan, we didn't get to touch on that.
Yeah.
That deal you got going on right now.
We gotta have you back.
For next time.
Yeah, we gotta have you back. There's a couple things we didn't touch on. I really wanted to go in, but we got so much to cover. But pleasure having you, man.
Appreciate it.
Check it out. Heat Speakers. We got it.
Till next time.
Till next time.
Till next time.
Low battery.